Welcome back to Inside Boxing's Throwdown. My name is Steve Johnson, Radio Martinez. Radio, let's start off talking about this past weekend. On Friday night, we had a pretty good boxing event on Showtime, the new Showbox, the New Generation, where we had Antoine Douglas taking on Les Sherrington for the IBO, WBA, WBO, XYZ, all of these international middleweight titles that Douglas has, which are basically meaningless. But the bottom line was that he took on Les Sherrington from Australia. Larry.
Right on, Larry.
But anyhow, what's your opinion of that fight?
You know what? I'll tell you what. I think it's about time, like we talked about a little bit, for him to step up. When you carry the titles, you have to carry the prestige of the title, okay? And you can't continue to fight opponents for a title like Les Sherrington. Taking nothing from Les Sherrington, but what's his record?
35. Now he's 35-8.
Okay. So I mean, you know, if you want to get up there and step with the big boys in the middleweight that have other titles in the other alphabet sanctioning bodies, well, then it's time for that. You know, this milking this stuff and settling for peanuts compared to what you can make when you're in the ring with these with the big boys. Has to, and I think Antoine needs to make a decision whether he's going to make that move and challenge the real fighters, or whether he still has reservations as questions about his skills and stuff. But bottom line is, you got the title now. You know, you were in a hurry to grab a world title, whether it be IBO or whatever. You got the title. Now it's time to go and show your worth.
Well, these international titles are pretty much meaningless to us here in the States, because these guys over, you know, like Les Sherrington's from Australia, the guys that he fought, you know, their records were impressive, but when you look at them compared to some boxers from the United States, they're nothing. Les Sherrington, like we talked about before, last week's show, we talked about him. His record's now 35-8, but Aurelio, 7 of those 8 losses have been by knockout.
Yeah. So I mean, let's keep an eye on Antoine, because he's a young guy.
Well,
what is he, 23 or so?
He's 23 years old.
Yeah, he's 23. So he's young. And,
there you go.
And I mean, you know, you got to make sure that when you get up to that level of world class status, that you're ready for it. So we'll keep an eye on him.
Yeah, but you know, with them happen to mentioning, you know, they're ready to move up. There's some guys, you know, that'll show them some good stepping stones, because right now we know there's no question about no Triple G, Miguel Cotto, Quillen, those guys. But, you know, somebody like the David Lemieux, you know, Daniel Jacobs, those are guys that we could see him step up against to see what he's got. I don't think he's ready for any of them, but he's still young.
That was Friday's action. So let's move on to Saturday's action, okay? And
you want to get right to it, huh?
Well, you know, we let's spend our time with people want to listen to, okay? People want to listen to what happened in this fight, and of course we had the Rios and Timothy Bradley with the new trainer in his corner. We had Pranadnikov, the Ruslan fight overseas, and came out with the 4-round knockout. Looked very impressive. And then of course we had Lomachenko, which everyone's kind of high on to find out what he can do with the big boys. So Steve, let's talk about Saturday.
Well, let's start off first. Let's talk about Vasily. That's what he calls himself, Vasily Lomachenko. Okay, in the fight against Koisic, the kid from Mexico.
Yeah.
I thought the fight was very entertaining, you know, because it allowed Lomachenko to show off what his skills are.
Yeah.
I still don't like the amateur thing that he does. You saw a couple of times he had the Mexican kid on the ropes, and he did his pity-pat amateur thing, you know. My thing is this. Let me just say this. I'm gonna be straight out. The conversation has been Lomachenko and Rigondeaux. Okay, I don't think it's what people are thinking right now. I think Rigondeaux handles him very easily.
Well, I think Rigondeaux wins, but I think it's also a good fight for Lomachenko, simply because Rigondeaux is not one of your fighters that's going to come and possesses that knockout power. Rigondeaux is a mover as well. Lomachenko has showed his skills. But you know, them 300 plus amateur fights and his gold medals, they show his professional. Can he shake that 100% amateur style and get into the professional style where you actually have to do damage and gain respect of your opponent.
Exactly.
So being that the case, I think Rigondeaux makes sense for him right now because Rigondeaux, of course, is also a gold medalist in the amateur. So he's got a real nice pedigree in the amateur ranking. So I think it'll make a good fight. So you got two movers, and it's going to be the case of who's going to be able to move and contact and score, because this will be a scoring type of victory. I don't think anyone can expect a knockout, but
Yeah.
I'm with you. I think Rigondeaux has the more experience in the professional rankings. I think his head is more professional minded. And I think too many people are putting Lomachenko on a pedestal right now, and he has to earn being on that pedestal, and I don't think he's earned it yet. I think he's very well on his way, but I just don't think he's learned it, and I don't think you should give him the false impression that he's up there on that pedestal and pound for pound the best, because he's got a way to go.
Okay. Also, we want to mention that that IBF welterweight title eliminator where Kevin Bizier upset the formerly undefeated Frederick Lawson. Stopped him in round 10, Lel. Talk about that fight for just a minute. What were your impressions of Bizier?
I'll tell you what, I like Bizier. I like his style. I like his double hooks. He breaks the rhythm. He breaks the rhythm of his opponent, and I like that because boxing is basically 1-2, left right, and it's mechanical. Okay, so when you break that rhythm, I mean, if you hit someone with the left hand, okay, your opponent expects a right hand. That's just the nature of the beast. Okay, right, left, whether it be a hook, whether it be a jab, whatever it is, that's the nature of the beast. So when you break that rhythm up and you hit pop left and you come back with the left and you come back with another left, well, the other guy's waiting to block that right hand. It never comes. Good style, good looking fight. Okay, he fought very well in this card.
And real quickly, let's give a lot of credit to Bizier. Clearly the underdog goes in, stops his opponent. Now he's in line for this title eliminator for a fight with Kell Brook. And that'll remain to be seen how he climbs that mountain. But you got to give this guy credit. For all the talk people have about, not leaving it in the hands of the judges, this guy did leave it in the hands of the judges.
That's right. And you know what? Don't know if he'll beat Kell Brooks. Kell Brooks is on top of his game right now, and Kell Brooks is one of the fighters that your top caliber champions and fighters refrain from mixing it up with Kell Brooks. Okay,
yeah, you don't want to mix it up.
So I'm not sure Bizier has what it takes, but I'll tell you what, I think Bizier goes in there and gives it 100%. And you know what? He's not going to worry about being the underdog.
Yeah.
So I think that's giving him a whole lot.
Okay, let's get right to it. Timothy Bradley and Brandon Rios. We talked about it last week briefly. Tim Bradley stopped Brandon Rios in the 9th round. I myself did my best to give Brandon Rios 1 round. Okay, and that's just for my respect from Brandon Rios. As far as I'm concerned, Brandon Rios has been one of those guys, radio, where he was just a raw dog. That boy always came out and gave it all. As verified at the end of the fight, he said, "My body just doesn't have it anymore. I've been in some wars." I thought that was a perfect analogy for his career. But some people are referring to him as a bum.
Wow.
We get into this thing now when guys are at the end of their career. Let me just say this, okay? Brandon Rios got 800 grand for that fight. Okay.
Yeah.
Why on one of your fights that you know that you're on the end of your career? Why would you turn down $800,000?
But you don't.
I think he earned that. Right to do that.
You know what? We're talking about Brandon Rios, and I like Brandon Rios. He's been good for boxing.
Yes.
Throughout his career.
Yes.
I think people don't understand out there, especially the fans and the people that never been in the ring and that don't know what it takes to train, to drop weight, to train to get into combat. Unless you really understand that, it's not as simple as going into the gym and hitting the bag for a few rounds and having your coach give you some mitts. Okay, that's just stuff that the fans see on TV. It's far more involved with training for a big fight like that. And the bottom line is, Rios don't have that anymore. He doesn't have that mentality, that desire, and it's gone because there's truth to the old saying that a boxer can turn old overnight. And that's so true. And let me tell you, when your mind's not in it and your heart's not in it, then save yourself a lot of problems. And that's when it's time to get out. And I think Rios did that. He got out the game because he realized it wasn't in. Because it wasn't like Bradley came in there and beat the heck out of him. Okay? It's just that Rios didn't fight. Two different things. Two different fights. Rios didn't fight, and it was more of a Bradley in there being able to showcase his skills against someone that's not fighting him. That's basically what that fight was all about. I like the theatrics. We're going to go a little over because I like the theatrics that we saw in the ring, in the corner. Now,
I was going to ask you about your impressions of Teddy Atlas.
Well, they may be a match made in heaven and they may not be, okay? The thing about it is, I think Timothy Bradley needed something there to give him that push. And Teddy Atlas provided that. Now, Teddy Atlas also likes to push his own button, and he's always been like that. You remember? I remember seeing him in the corner with Michael Moore. Where he actually would yell and do the same antics. Yeah, that's just his style. And as a matter of fact, with Michael Moore, he even got to the point where he was slapping him in the corner.
Yeah.
Now me as a fighter, an ex-fighter, my coach better not ever slap me. Better not ever slap me because he won't be in my corner anymore. Yeah. Okay. That's not what you're in the corner to do. You don't have to wait. Man, that guy around on the other end is hitting me. Okay, you don't have to hit me.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's his style. That's his style. And then he had to have this plan way back months ago about the fireman thing.
Oh my God.
We're firemen. We're not afraid of fire. Whatever he said. Okay, but that was just a whole plan to get him, Teddy Atlas, in the media hype, the media groove. Okay, that's all that was because Timothy went in there and did what he had to do. I'm still anxious to see what he's going to do in there with someone that is going to fight back and has the desire to win.
Exactly. And before we end this, and like you said, we've gone over in this episode, but I just want to say this. As far as I'm concerned, all those antics from Teddy Atlas were just media hype. The HBO, that whole triumvirate there, they were gushing all over him the whole time about Teddy Atlas and that. I agree with you 100%. Let's see now. Let's see what happens now when you fight a guy that's going to fight back. And I guarantee you it's going to be a lot different. And I'm not going to take anything too much away from Tim Bradley, but I'm going to say this. Never once in this whole thing has he ever backed up and said, you know what, let me apologize to Joel Diaz for comments that I made, derogatory comments I made about him. I'm moving forward and best of luck to him. Yeah. Never anything like that. So
I don't think
as far as I'm concerned, no, it's not going to happen.
That got ugly.
But that's what I'm saying. We'll see from now on.
That got ugly.
We'll see what happens
ugly.
when he gets in there with somebody that's going to fight back.
We don't see that. But the antics of before we quit, the antics of what Teddy Atlas do, it's good for boxing. The fans kind of love that. Even especially the fans that never been in the ring, they kind of love that. That's an adrenaline booster, man, and they just love that. Yeah. People that been in the ring and been coaching and stuff, not so much. Okay, but I'll leave this with this quote because I really did like Teddy Atlas when he told him when Bubble Eyes, what's his name?
Max Kellerman.
Max Kellerman, okay, Bart Simpson. Okay, when he went into the corner to interview, and I believe you guys with this, when he went in the corner to interview Teddy Atlas, and they went into conversation, and then Bubble Eyes went and said, well, Teddy Atlas, I'm impressed. And Teddy Atlas came and says, well, Kellerman, you're easy to impress.
Ooh, he loved that.
I just love that because really, Kellerman's a fan. Okay, he's a fan. He's easy to impress. He's a fan. He's a boxing fan. Yeah. So with that, we're going to leave you. Come back and see our next episode following this one when we're going to talk about the upcoming fights. Okay? So, Steve, until then, keep them hands up, all right?
You better keep your hands up.
And don't be easy to impress.